I can't see it. All right, yeah. Are we on? I hit the live button. Okay. Yeah, so hello friends and welcome to the virtual show, your only late night VR talk show. I'm your host Wes. With me as always, my good friend Ruuts. Ruuts, it's mayhem, my friend. Bedlam.
Yeah, mayhem, bedlam. We actually have it. We actually made the mistake of listening to Dave Station VR, and we made the we made the jump over to Discord. It's set up now, so everything's good. That's what the delay was. We apologize for the delay. It was worth it. It's virtual strangers for all you 9 or 10 people that actually stuck around and didn't say, like all the casuals that left already. We appreciate you.
Yeah, so I do think that the Discord setup is going to be much better, but we have to find a way that I know when the countdown timer
Mm,
ends. Like you signaled me that you were switching to the countdown timer, and I guess I could count in my head, but that doesn't really work because when I look at YouTube, there's a delay going on, so I really
mm.
don't know when I went live, which is the reason why I went like a deer in the headlights there for a moment.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Wolveraza says yay. Radio Run says you're on. Spry Guy says he made it, and Meow the Gamer Cat says yay for us. And Techno Glitch just says hello. Uh, there's a
Well, hello, friends in chat, and I'm glad you stuck around, and you're going to be glad that you stuck around because we have a hell of an episode for you tonight. We're finally going to do it. We're finally going to jump in. We're going to dump in. We're going to dump all over this game. Now we're going to jump in to the topic that people have been asking about the most over the course of the last week, and that is Sniper Elite VR. And it's been a while since we had one of these games, which is a high profile release that we've been waiting on for a very long time. Uh, so, it's kind of a special occasion. And to mark the occasion, we brought in a little bit of help. So, joining us right now, live via satellite, uh, from the Oculus Quest 2 community on Facebook, you all know him, Mash Daddy himself, Eric Masher, joining us now. Hello,
Hey,
Eric. Thanks for joining us.
awesome. Thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
hey,
Yeah,
okay.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's going to take a minute to get back used to doing a three-man show, huh?
Yeah, yeah. It's definitely a little bit more difficult to just pop in when the other person stops talking, for sure.
Anyway, I think that it's justified, right? Because this is a big release, and a lot of people have a lot of different things to say about this game. So, we're doing our best here to represent uh, from all aspects on this game. So, like, I know I mainly played on the PC version, but I got some time in on the Quest as well. I'm assuming that Roots did much the same of what I did, but Eric is coming from a bit of a different perspective. Eric, you played it on PlayStation VR as well as the Quest version. Is that correct?
I actually played all three. Yeah, I played the
Oh,
PSVR. I played it. I played it probably like 3 or 4 missions on the Rift Store version or the Link Store version, and then I played like 5 or 6 missions. Actually, no, 7 missions on the Quest.
Oh
well,
shit.
that's great. So we should be able to hit this thing from all sides. And Roots, you know who loves it when you hit it from all sides?
My mom!
Oh yeah, she does, man.
She's so
She likes.
nerdy.
Yeah, she even would. I think she would even come after Johnny Five. She robots are off, not off limits at all.
He's never felt so alive, huh?
That's right.
Anyway, looking forward to this talk. Been looking forward to it for a week now, and ready to jump right into it. But before we do that, let's kick it off the way we always do by saying hello to our friends in chat. And Root, you said it a moment ago. It's kind of the OG ride or dies hanging out in the chat while we sort through our technical issues. Wolveraza, Radio Rut, Meow Meow, the Gamer Cat, Onikazi stopping by, as is Techno Glitch. Um, and I think the further we scroll up, we'll find out who ditched, right?
Yeah, well, what's funny? That's what's funny. I was gonna say, like, there's some people out there. We know who you are that just ditched out. That said, you know what, Roots, Wes, Mash, you guys aren't important enough to stick around. And I choose to not be offended. I'm not gonna be offended. So.
It's not like it's 1 o'clock in the morning or anything.
Yeah, that's true. Well, for you guys, I see, and this is my thing. This is my guilty thing. Mepper, this is for you. And I agree, Alien Kara, no disassemble. The coffee, okay. Now you're saying why Roots? Why are you drinking coffee at 11 p.m.? Yeah, I got the show. I want to be awake for the show, but I want to be able to not be able to sleep so that I can go back into Returnal. I've got an excuse, because I guarantee if I can't sleep, that's what I'll be doing. Or going back between that and Ratchet and Clank, which are both amazing games in their own rights. And you know what's funny, Wes? A small thing about Returnal, and you'll get this. Well, I guess you might get it as well, Mash. I was running around Returnal, and I didn't understand why I couldn't get the tether. I couldn't tether, because I saw a video where the things for the tethering, so I started noticing them. I don't have the tether yet, bro. I got it on Ratchet and Clank. That game's so similar in a lot of ways, and so I was tethering around going through these portals, and I guess I got the games mixed up. So it's crazy.
Yeah, so that's right. A big congratulations are in order for our friend Roots here because he did finally procure his PlayStation 5. And you know, it's kind of funny the timing of it all because um, the day that he got his PlayStation 5, Roots sent me a message to let me know that his graphics card in his computer was messed up. Strange timing for your PCVR to go down right when you get your PlayStation 5. And then all of a sudden on show day, everything starts to work again magically.
Yeah, that's what was crazy. Like, I don't know, and I'm still a little sketched. I was telling Mash about this before the show. I didn't know. I okay, so I went. My video card started making a noise, started stopping and starting one of them, and everything I read said that means your video card's going out. Probably the bearings or something. It was making this weird noise. So I removed it. I cleaned off the dust and I put it in a box. Well, they wanted me to reproduce it on video so they could see what was happening. I stuck it in, and everything's perfect. And so I can only assume that maybe it was somehow loose. One of the cables was loose. The dust that was in there was interfering. Either way, my card's working again because I was trying to figure out how to do a show with a integrated graphics card from a 8700K Skylake or Skylake or Comet Lake. I don't know what they're
No, it's the one
Comet
after
Lake
Skylake.
or whatever.
Yeah.
But
Well,
yeah,
it shows you two things, though, right? It shows you two things. It says PC gamers have to be knowledgeable tinkerers, and it makes you know why console gamers and Quest gamers love these platforms.
yeah,
There's no jank.
yeah.
No, none, right? Like you can just play. You can just play on consoles. And I consider Oculus Quest 2 to be kind of like VR's console. Um, you know, a lot to be said about their stringent um quality policies, maybe a little too much in some situations, but at the end of the day, no one can argue with the results. It's nice to just be able to pick it up and go, right?
Yep, absolutely. Two things. Spry Guy says, is it a coincidence that Johnny Five is on the show on the day that Walkabout Mini Golf releases on Steam? It is not a coincidence. We coordinated that months ago.
Did you get it, Spry Guy? Did you buy it? You said you were going to wait and buy it.
Yeah, you're going to buy it. Radio Run is screaming. Mash needs to be louder, but I think if you're, I think it maybe it's there's an echo, or it's not an echo, but it's a little bit echoey, so it's harder to understand. But if you get too much louder, it's going to be too loud for my ears. Maybe I just have my volume up too loud. So.
Anyway, with regards to your graphics card, at least now, I mean, at least something good came out of the experience. It was a learning experience. Now you know that if you're going to enter in an RMA, that EVGA is going to ask you to reproduce it on camera. And while that might not be the easiest thing to do on second try, on when it starts happening, now you know.
Mm.
Um, and while maybe you weren't able this time to reproduce it on camera, do you know who has no trouble at all reproducing on camera?
Mm-hmm.
My mom!
Oh, she loves it. So yeah, Mash, I guess turn it up a little bit because Alien Kara, Space Denizen, um, everybody is like, dude, turn that shit up. Um, oh god,
How about now, guys?
oh, that's a
Any
little.
better?
What do you guys think? Is it too loud for you, Wes?
It sounds. I mean, it is loud, but it sounds okay. It's not like hurting my ears or anything. So yeah, it's all good. It's kind of it's
A
just part
learning
of the
process.
deal.
Well, and in Mash's defense, he just set everything up in the last like
I
24
literally, Roots walked me through everything like 2 hours before the show,
except
Right.
the microphone.
except the microphone.
So, do you do you
He
have
can't take credit for that crap hole.
do you have a dedicated mic, or are we using webcam mic?
No,
Oh,
I'm using a dedicated mic.
yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
All right.
Oh.
So anyway, enough jibber jabber. Let's get into it.
Jibber
Sniper Elite VR released last Tuesday, I think. This is a game being published by the longtime developer of the Sniper Elite franchise, Rebellion, but not developed by Rebellion. Important to note here
Hmm.
that they realize that they aren't VR developers, so they went out there and got Just Add Water to develop this game for them to publish. $30 and available on all major VR platforms. So this game been a long time coming, but I think now that we can see why. The fact that they launched this game not only on PC and PlayStation VR at the same time, but on Oculus Quest as well, all on the same day, I think is a pretty commendable thing, especially when you consider that Oculus Quest really just became a thing for them over the course of the last year.
What are your thoughts, Wes? Do you like that better? Like wait a little bit, wait a month late, because there's two different camps, right? Some developers will put it out, and you see it even with some of the games coming out soon, coming out on Quest, coming out on PS4 or VR, somewhere down the road, or would you rather everybody wait for 3 more months and everybody come out at the same time?
Well, generally speaking, these games that do a cross-platform launch generally tend to have more polish on the PC version anyway. It's not for nothing the extra time that you have to wait. Generally, that just adds polish. And had they launched on PC first and then we had to wait on these other versions, there's not a doubt in my mind that we wouldn't have the polished experience that we have today on day one. So it doesn't bother me at all. Eric, what do you think about it?
Yeah, definitely launch all at the same time. You got to get everybody playing this game. It just pisses people off too when you do this stuff.
Yeah,
So
and generally it's bigger publishers like Rebellion are the ones who can afford to wait. Generally, when you see people launch and it's scattered among the different platforms on different days, generally that's because it's a smaller studio. They need to get some cash flow going, so they go to the PC first because that's the easiest one to publish on. So yeah, but I do think that it's a good idea. I think it's interesting that we're seeing this more from single player titles than we're seeing it from multiplayer titles when it would make a lot more sense. Like the cross platform launch is the only way to go with the multi-platform or with a multiplayer title rather. And I'm kind of surprised that we Larcenauts, for example, wasn't ready to go on PlayStation VR. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
yeah, that was a big one there. That was a huge missed opportunity for them. Look at all that player base for PlayStation that you missed out on. Those lobbies would be guaranteed they'd be full right now.
It's the
Yeah,
same thing every time, too, man. We say it every time that a multiplayer comes out. We say it needs to do this, this, and this. They don't do any of it. And then we're talking about the same scramble of like, oh, we got to sell it for cheap. We got to try to fill up the lobbies. I don't understand what these developers are doing. It's driving me crazy personally.
yeah. Larson not specifically made, in my opinion, are making the same mistake that Solaris made when they came and launched as a Oculus exclusive, timed exclusive. Now, people are asking, is it going to be cross-plat? Is it not going to support cross-platform play? But in my opinion, it might not matter at this point because even if it does, like, uh, nobody's going to be in the lobby by that point. By the time you get everyone everything situated so that everyone can play together, people are going to be done with it because, from what I understand, the lobbies are pretty sparse right now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
I don't.
but anyway,
Okay.
uh, while we're on the subject, I guess before we dive into Sniper Elite, let me ask you, Eric, do you think it's a possibility at some point in the future, at any point in the future, that we might see some kind of a multiplayer update for Sniper Elite?
I mean, you could do it. I mean, I would love to see co-op. I mean, we say that
Yeah.
about pretty much every game, but could you imagine having you got if you had a co-op and you had a partner with you, where that partner you had to protect him from a sniping position as he moved his way down through the map on the bottom. I mean, that game is perfect for that. Or even if you had a spotter somewhere else that was showing you where to shoot, or you have to distract a guard over on this side so this other guy can get through. I mean, this game is made for co-op. I mean, we don't need any more multiplayer games, really. I mean, look at Medal of Honor. That's a multiplayer game, and nobody's playing that.
Oh God.
Yeah, yeah. When I was talking about multiplayer, it was specifically co-op was what I was thinking,
Mm.
because I agree. I think that this game is perfectly suited for multiplayer. Being it would add new layers to the gameplay. If you were able from your high ground to lay down cover fire as someone else infiltrated, it would just be so much fun. Roots, what about you? Do you think we're going to possibly ever see co-op in this game?
Possible. I'd love it. I'd love them to get some of the guns the way they feel a little bit better first, but I would love to see co-op. This is my thing. What Mash was just describing, I could see myself totally running through down below, and Wes is picking people off and protecting me because if it's the other way around, Wes, you're screwed, bro. Because my sniping skills are it's so difficult to like figure out where they're at and then zoom in. Like I half the time I'm zooming in, I'm like looking at the wall next to him and I'm like, where's the guy getting shot, you know? It's not a good place for you to be down there, bro. Just saying.
Anyway, yeah, I would consider it likely at this point because I don't think honestly, and of course I'm a layman, but seemingly you wouldn't have to alter the game very much to make the campaign into a co-op campaign. I'm sure the difficulty would have to be adjusted slightly, and the point system they'd have to make new leaderboards for it. But beyond that, I mean. It's kind of it already seems like a co-op game, even though it isn't.
Well, do you
Yeah.
think there's any part of the developers that like would be like, it's not a co-op game? Like everybody wants a co-op. We always say that every single time, but at some point, sometimes um, it needs to not be. Now, the biggest thing that I would say that would lean it towards being more of a co-op game or needing a co-op game was it's like the story was minimal, right? Like there was a good story base dragging you through, but it was just certain a little bit of dialogue and then go on. It wasn't like it was an elaborate thing, right?
There
um
were no cut scenes. There was just narration that tied the levels together, pretty
right,
much.
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, I wouldn't say this is not a story based um game, you know what I mean? Not in that respect, you know what I mean? So
Well, it's interesting. It's one of the unique things about this game is the structure of it, and there's a lot of ingredients that have went in that stuff that we're familiar with and stuff that we've seen before, but me personally, I haven't seen a game put together like this before because, with regards to the levels and the maps, they're all kind of laid out like your typical adventure game. But the gameplay is more of, well, I mean, there's two sides to the gameplay. You have the gunplay itself, which is kind of more of a sim style FPS gunplay, but it's put in the context of arcade style, uh, an arcade style point setup. So the actual gameplay, even though there are sim like factors to it, it's more of an arcade style game that's set up like a typical story based adventure. Um, Erica, are you familiar with any other titles, flat or otherwise, that have taken this kind of mixed matched approach
I mean,
to?
it's so. I mean, I'm trying to think. It's so hard to find one that does both. I mean, it's got like, it's got campaigns like Medal of Honor, but then it's got like the scoring system of Zombieland almost in it, which are two completely different games. But I have to say, for me, one of the saving graces. I mean, I love this game, but one of the saving graces for this game was the point system and the leaderboards. I mean, the one reason I only made it to like level 6 or 7 in the quest, is I played level 3 or 4 probably 5 times.
Mm.
It was level 3. I think I went back, and because I'd play it and I'd get up there in a high score, and then all of a sudden I'd get a notice in Oculus. Lethal Weasel just beat my score, or Wolveraza just beat my score. So I'm like, all right, now I got to go back in. And I'm not going to mission 6. I'm going back to mission 3 so I can try and beat that score. I mean, I even went to the stupid shooting range 5 times so I could get the highest pistol score. You know what I mean? So, that's one of my most favorite parts of the game and it was such a smart thing to do. And this is not a military sim shooter. I don't think it tries to be. It's got a mesh of stuff that's just, I don't think you've ever seen anything like it, really.
Ray
Yeah, no,
Delatorre says Sniper Elite VR made for the Quest made him feel like he was playing a PC VR game. That's how good it was. I played most of my time in the PC VR version, as I will admit, but kind of felt the same way. How about you, Wes?
yeah, yeah. We'll dive a little bit more into the differences between the platforms in a few minutes. But yeah, I have to concur. I would say that this is probably graphically one of the better looking games on the Oculus Quest 2. I'd put it on par with something like In Death Unchained, a very good looking game. And beyond that, I think between the PC VR version and the Quest 2 version, um, that the gameplay was pretty much identical.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
But with regards to what Eric was saying here, to me, the highlight of the game is the replayability, and a lot of that comes from this point system. And it's interesting to note, what a motivating factor it is that point system and those leaderboards are there. Because initially, we only got one key for this game, so we put it on our shared account. But immediately upon playing it, I felt compelled to play the game on my own account, just so that my name could be on the leaderboard and I could get credit for my work. So really quickly, a big thank you out, of course. Where are my manners? Thank you to Rebellion for providing us with the review access. But I can say definitively that I'm going to, I'm playing through it on PC VR, and then I'm going to end up buying it again anyway on PlayStation VR. Um, I don't think I'm going to be done with this game anytime soon. Roots, talk a little bit about how replayable this game is to you.
Well, it's definitely replayable, and especially now that I just found out from Wolveraza that there's a duck button. I was trying to hide behind. Um, I got my ass shot up, bro. Like I can't tell you how many times I died. I'm getting hit. I'm ducking behind cover. I'm running back out. So for me, it's definitely going to be replayable because there's an option there, that I didn't know. But I don't know. See, I'm not as big on the leaderboards. I never have been as far as what's going on. Even unless it's like Audica, but even that, I don't really chase leaderboards. So I didn't replay a bunch of missions like you guys did, but I probably didn't make it as far as you guys did either, because I was struggling so much with dying. Um, but I couldn't believe how much fun it was to snipe with and just the first nut shot. Oh my god, dude, watching it. It's crazy, dude. Like, man, it makes you want to shoot people in weird spots that you're not supposed to. And it's
Yeah,
cool.
and that kind of ties into the point system as well. And I get what you're saying with regards to leaderboard chasing. It isn't always my thing either. But what I think makes this game unique from other games with leaderboards is it isn't just about scoring more points for the leaderboard. The points that you score with each shot are a reflection of the difficulty of that shot. So, kind of, your score reflects your skill more directly than in a game, say, like Crashland or Swarm, where you can really rack the points up just through killing a lot of enemies. With this game, it's about making your shots more difficult and pulling it off, and that was half the fun for me. Eric, uh, the point system is very nuanced. Obviously, um, one dimension is what I just talked about with the shot difficulty, but there are other things at play. Each weapon has its own scoring criteria attached to it with regards to bonus points for different kinds of shots. Um, what do you think about the balance with that? Because I found that even though I really like the idea of kidney shots with this gun uh, giving you bonus points, or pistol shots within 10 meters giving you bonus points, I felt like the points were maybe a little bit out of balance, because if you're playing for a high score, the only way to really get it is through long distance sniping. Using your pistol, using the submachine guns, always seem to uh, produce very little points for me, even if I used them and got the bonus points.
Yeah, and those weapons are not anywhere half as fun as using the sniper rifle anyway. But yeah, I mean, I think one of the rifles is a heart shot, so it gives you bonus points for a heart shot, or one of them gives bonus points for a kidney shot. But I mean, I just wanted to get headshots. I was trying to get, I mean, I found myself just wanting to get as many headshots as I can, and I kept the kill cam on as much as I mean, I know you can turn it down or even turn it off, and I just love seeing that kill cam. I mean, I was never real big into the flat sniper elite, so I know that was in that one. So a lot of people already got to experience that, and they don't really care about it now. But I love that headshot, and I love watching the headshot. X-ray vision is so cool. But yeah, I would just rather either be able to turn that off to where you don't have to do it that way, and they just give you, you know, usually in a game like that, you get where it's points, you're getting points for the headshot because it's the hardest shot to get. But if they give you an option to turn that off, I think I would rather do it the other way and just get as many headshots as you can.
Do you think
I,
that headshot's harder to get than the nut shot? That's pretty damn hard. I had to
That one's
hit
fun to
that and bounce off the penis, bro. That was a good shot.
get. Yeah, that's always
uh,
not easy.
but I like the way the point. I like the diversity of the point system. I just think it needs to be rebalanced, because no matter what weapon you use, the typically distance is the main factor in the scoring, and I don't think that should be the case if you're holding a shotgun or a pistol or some other close range weapon. I think the overall damage should probably count for more than even distance, and distance should be more of a like a multiplier with close range weapons.
Yeah, definitely.
Roots, you've been a little bit outspoken about, and it's not just you, Wolveraza, some other people with the other weapons besides the sniper rifle. Now, admittedly, this is a game that's built around
Mm.
sniping. Uh, the other weapons are just kind of, in most cases, just something you're carrying, you're not going to use very much. But there are levels, indoor levels, close range levels, where sniping isn't really the most convenient thing to do. What specifically um, were your problems with the other weapons?
Actually, I mean, see, and I pretty much tried to use the last time I went in, I tried to use every gun. I actually kind of like this gun right here. It's my go-to machine gun. It's the movement of it. Like the guns seem to fire pretty good. I don't know what Wolveraz's problem was with it. Like even especially the pistol. The pistol to me, I thought, at least the one I used, was great. It moved fine. I shot it fine. Everything. The machine guns fired fine as well. It was like when you're taking the gun and you're going back and forth. It was almost like it, instead of moving smoothly, it would kind of skip. You could feel like it didn't move smoothly when you moved it around. When you stopped and aimed, it was great. It's just you could just, I felt like moving the gun. There was resistance with it. It just didn't feel right. It didn't flow. And for whatever reasons, the other people, like you said, I mean, it really, it did make me want to force use the sniper, whereas I might have been more inclined to go with the machine gun because I like to aim and spray. So, uh, you know what I mean? So maybe that's the reason for it. I don't know. Did you not notice the same thing? I thought that the shooting was good. They felt fine shooting wise. It was just the way they moved around when I moved them around.
Yeah, I did not notice that. Now, to be honest, the submachine guns are probably the weapons that I use the least. And the very first submachine gun that you get is probably my least favorite of the bunch. It's very inaccurate, and it runs out of ammo way too
Mm.
quickly.
Are you talking about the
But
sideways one? My baby?
yeah, this
Yeah.
yeah.
What?
Uh, but I didn't particularly have a problem with any of the weapons that I use. No major problems. Typically, when the way I use submachine guns is, I shoot them like I would the sniper rifle. Only I'm close range without a scope now, and instead of just spraying bullets, I'm using burst fire to kind of try to limit the recoil. So everything kind of worked really well for me. That said, sniper rifle, 90% of my usage. I would say that the silenced pistol, probably 5% of my usage. And then, the trench gun, probably another 2 or 3%. And then that remaining 2% is all the other guns. Eric, did you have any kind of similar issues with the weapons?
I mean, not really. I mean, the PSVR version was a little weird with the pistol using the aim controller, but I mean, it was still okay. The only thing I didn't like with the pistol is you couldn't put both your hands on the pistol.
Right.
Every time I wanted to two-hand the pistol, I would pull the magazine up. You can't grip it,
No
so you really
two-handed.
you had to one-hand the pistol. So it was
Yeah.
it's tougher to aim it like that.
You know who
But
else likes to one-hand the pistol?
My mom!
Oh yeah, she does.
she's
Uh,
so dirty.
I never really tried the two-handed pistol. Like I always just kind of naturally aimed one-handed with it. I did have a little bit of issue pulling the clip out. The way that you have to put your hands together to actually grip the clip
Hmm.
is not comfortable with touch controllers. It just felt a little weird. Now, obviously, I got used to it um, after some time, and I developed the habit of reloading, as much as possible when there's no action going on.
Hmm.
So I'm never trying to have to, grab that clip in the heat of the moment. Um, but generally, with the handling and shooting of the pistols, submachine guns, and shotguns, everything felt pretty good to me.
Okay. Well,
The
um,
shotgun, especially, I thought the shotgun was pretty good.
that
I
was
mean, it
pretty
felt
cool.
pretty good.
I
Yeah.
liked it.
Yeah, it was especially when you're going through an indoors level where sniping just really isn't an option. It's nice to have something that'll put the guys down in one shot, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me ask
Um,
you this: what did you guys think when you tried to turn the reload off?
I didn't try to turn the
I
reload
was
off.
gonna say I didn't
What?
either.
Oh
Were
man,
we
I
supposed to?
turned that shit off, dude, because man, I'm as much as it's amazing. I don't like I don't like to have to reload after every single shot. I know this is gonna break people's minds immersion wise. But this is
Wolverine's
one
just
this
passed
is yeah, he's exactly. This is one
out.
thing that I will say for the devs, and you can take my advice or not. If you're gonna use the auto reload, it's probably better to not have it be visual anymore because watching it do it on its own, that is kind of immersion breaking. Just let me have it reloaded. I don't need to see it. You know what I mean? If I'm turning it off to where I don't manually reload it, I don't need to see the reload anymore. Does that make sense? Um,
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Actually, they should just have a button press, right? Make it. I mean, you're making the game more arcadey anyway by doing that. You might as well just go full on, right?
you don't even push a button; it just does it itself.
Oh, really?
You're just shooting, and all of a sudden you're watching the thing
Yeah.
reload itself. Just kind of
That was the
weird.
one thing I really didn't like about the PlayStation version is, of course, with the end controller, you can't manual reload. You have no choice. You can turn it off so where it's. I think you can turn it off to where it's nothing, but otherwise you're just using one of the directional buttons on the back. I think it's the O button, the circle button, on the back of the controller to reload. But the reload, when you do it, it seems so slow. Like when you manually reload in the Quest or the Rift version, you can do it as fast as your hand can do it. When you're just a button press, it's like forever putting in. And what you got to do is to reload the whole thing, you have to actually hold it down for like a couple of seconds to actually put a clip in. That's how you change a clip. And you hit it quickly just to take the bolt out and put the bolt back in, or you have to hold it down to change the clip, and it just feels like forever.
But you don't have to. You don't have to do anything though. It's nice. You just sit
That's
back,
true.
relax,
That's
just
it.
chill. I think Meow Meow the gamer cat has a good point, and Wes and I are always saying this. It's great that it's an option auto reload. What do you guys think about the fact that some people have asked for, and I agree with it, a stability, like not everybody has stable hands, so like some kind of a button or a thing that you can turn on that stabilizes your shots a little bit better for people that have
Well,
really shaky hands.
well, in my experience, that's what the focus function does. When you pull that left trigger, things get fairly stable, even if you're not using a scoped weapon. Now that said, I'm not the shakiest person in the world. I think what you're referring to here was somebody who has excessive shaky hands,
Well, have you ever
and
seen
some kind of
somebody when they put their hand out? Like, look at my hand; it's pretty much stable, but there's people's hands that are like they cannot put their hand out straight, and then you put this that they're just the jitter enough. There was quite a few comments that I saw in the reviews of people asking for it that are just saying, "Look, man, I know not everybody's this way, but I just want something to stabilize it. Just an option that gives you extra stabilization for people that maybe they're older or whatever. Maybe
uh,
their Michael J. Fox wants to play the game. I'm not gonna hold it against him, you know.
Mm.
So
I think that would probably be a good feature to integrate into the easy difficulty level. Maybe have some more auto stabilization on the guns. Eric,
oh,
what do you think?
GT's saying in the chat that there's a scope smoothing for shaky hands
oh,
in the menu.
please, GT, come on. You know he's got all the answers. Damn it, I didn't know that. That's actually good. Well, nobody said that in the comments. Maybe they added that, or actually, I'll have to check that out. My hands are pretty stable though. So
So the GT coming through with the knowledge that there
he
actually
always
is this
comes through.
feature
He always
in
comes
there.
through with the knowledge.
And
Yeah.
GT also in the chat says, and I lost it here. Pistol reloading is bad. You can't two-hand it. Shotgun reloading is poor. I like the machine gun personally, but there's only so much they would listen to from me. The good thing is that every bit of feedback I gave has been mentioned
Mm,
by other players,
that
which
is good.
pleases me.
That is good.
So
Yeah.
Gamertag doing his part to mold this game into what it is today, and uh, a game that I'm rather enjoying. Again, something that I'm finding to be, at least seemingly, it's going to be infinitely replayable for me. Like, especially if they rebalance the point system with the other weapons. I could see myself going back in and just playing this thing over and over and over again forever.
Let me ask you this, Wes. What does your daughter think of it? She's had to have tried this by now, right?
She has not tried it.
What?
She watched me play a little bit today, though, and she thinks it looks cool.
Oh
Um,
wow, that's crazy,
but
man.
she saw that X-ray cam, which Masher said that he didn't turn his down I turned mine up. Did you adjust the frequency of the X-ray cam?
I
Oh,
turned it
well, I mean,
on, but I don't think I turned it up. I saw that you could turn it up.
I saw a lot of people complaining. They were like, I don't, I played it, they're like, oh, I played it for 20 minutes with it on, and I'm like, I don't need it anymore. I turned it off. I think it's one of the better parts of the game.
yeah, it allows you to regroup and get ready for
Your next shot, yeah.
the next shot. So
Well,
I
plus, who
really
doesn't want to
enjoyed
see somebody's jaw explode, right? Like, especially if you're responsible for it. I mean, that just makes you feel cozy and good, I think.
Yeah.
it.
You know me, I like
Salute.
shooting people in the face, so.
Yeah, I love it, man. I love like at this point I've seen hundreds of these kill cams going through skulls. It's still not old yet. Like
Mm.
it's just
Nope.
it's nice to sit back and admire your work.
Well, you know what? It's funny, Mash, you say that about you love to shoot people in the face. You know who loves to be shot in the face?
My mom!
Oh, yeah, she does.
She's busy tonight.
She's very busy.
Anyway, let's talk a little bit about the different platforms and the differences in the game on each platform. I'd like to note really quickly that I'm approaching this game as someone who's new to the series. I'm pretty sure that Roots can say the same thing, that he's never played any of these Sniper Elite games before. And I think it's important to note whether or not we had, because typically when people uh, are fans of a series and they go into a game, they generally carry with them some sort of expectations,
Hmm.
and particularly with VR games can be different, and sometimes it doesn't always resonate with longtime fans. Um, Eric, do you have any kind of history with Sniper Elite?
I don't. I mean, I maybe played a couple of the early ones, but I mean, nothing major. I mean, I know there's some guys out there that followed this whole series, like Will Ferrazzi. It was one of his favorite games, but I just never got into it flat. But I'm enjoying the heck out of it in VR. I can tell you that.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it as well. I enjoyed it both on the PC version as well as the standalone Quest version, and on Oculus Quest 2. Again, the only difference I saw was graphically, and it wasn't like a night and day difference. I mean, it's very noticeable, right? You play it on Quest for a while, and you think that it doesn't look very different from PC until you go back to the PC, and then you see, oh, this is a really beautiful game. Um, I wouldn't put it on level with something like Asgard's Wrath or Half-Life Alex, but it's on a tier just under that, in my opinion, with regards to the PC version. Roots, what did you think about this game graphically on PC?
I think it looked amazing. It made, you know what, as my biggest thing that keeps going through my head is what the hell is the difference between this and Medal of Honor? Like, why is Medal of Honor 100 and however many gigs? This game is only what, 8 gigs or something, or I don't even know. It's not that many gigs, but it looks phenomenal. It looks really good. So I don't know. I don't know what that other game, what I don't know what it is. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what's going on or where all these gigs went. Um, I feel like we got bamboozled, bro. Like it's very baffling to me because I thought it looked really good.
Yeah, it is interesting because this game is structured very similarly to Medal of Honor. A lot of the stuff Medal of Honor tried to do, Sniper Elite does as well. Only where it was a negative thing done poorly in Medal of Honor, it was done much better in Sniper Elite. Um, Now, with that said, obviously, uh, there could have been a little more continuity to the game with regards to the story, but still, it's not choppy and broken on the level of Medal of Honor. Um, Eric, I believe you said that your favorite version of this game was on PlayStation. Is that correct?
It is 100%.
Any particular reason for that?
It's the aim controller, because I mean, graphics wise, it's pretty much the Quest version on PlayStation, except it's blurrier, and that's just because of the headset. It's not because of it's not anything to do with the software. It's all the the headset itself. Otherwise, besides that, it looks exactly the same. but the aim controller makes the game 100% more enjoyable. The only thing you miss is the reload. You know what I mean? If I could take the Quest and put an aim controller on the Quest and figure out some way to reload, it would be one of my top 5 games, because the aim controller just makes this game. Any shakiness that you might feel is gone with the aim controller. And I tried with the Sandlockie gun stock. I tried it on the Quest.
Horrible.
It's just not the same. It's not the same. And I was not like, everybody was like, before I got my PS5, the PSVR, everybody was like, the aim controller is great. And I was like, okay, it looks kind of hokey. It doesn't look like a gun. It looks weird. I'm telling you, this thing amazes me. It just amazes me how it makes games better with the aim controller. It just does. I mean, otherwise, I would say the Quest version, hands down, is probably the best version. But with the aim controller, for me, I'll be going back to the PlayStation more than I will the Quest.
That is amazing to me, and I think that it's a lesson to be learned here for other prospective PSVR owners. There's a lot that
Mhm.
people have said about the PlayStation VR's tracking system, and the aim controller specifically with regards to accuracy and drift. Uh, we have Eric, who's someone who's a fairly new PSVR user, telling you that the most stability that he experienced in any version of this game was on PlayStation VR, and I think that not only says a lot about the aim controller in the PlayStation VR, but it says a lot about the developer as well. And it goes to show that they did their work and they put their time into developing the PSVR version.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. My thing is I don't care about reloading either way, so I wouldn't mind doing it. I know that seems weird to people. My thing is if I got to reload after every bullet, like talk about unnecessary. I mean, I get it. I went back to World War II, and this is the way it was back then. I don't like reload. It's just too much. Now, let me ask you this: did anybody have any problems with putting their weapons on their shoulders, like the belt fucking turning, and I'm trying to put this thing on my shoulder over and over again. I ended up dropping it because I'm like getting shot. The main thing is I was trying to switch to a different gun, and at some point I just had to say, okay, I'm getting killed right now. I need to grab my other gun. And it seemed like I started figuring out that my belt was turning or something weird was going on. I don't know. Maybe it was just me.
Yeah, it was you. I
No.
mean, and that's where you start to get into some of the downfalls of this game, because it's got some technical issues. I mean, it does. I mean, every time I go to grab the butt stock of the gun, I'm grabbing my pistol by mistake. Or every time I'm trying to go grab some ammo out of my belt, I'm grabbing a grenade. Yeah, you're right. You try and put one weapon on your shoulder, and it just drops off your back, and you lose your weapon. You know what I mean? It happens all the time, and it's just small stuff that, I mean, it's easy fix. Hopefully they'll fix it. But yeah, I mean, there's definitely some little stuff that just drives you nuts.
I think they just need a bigger box, right? Like when you go to put it on there, instead of this small little area, needs to be a little bit bigger. You do have the vibration.
Right.
It's just there was times I was putting it up there and there was nothing, and I had to like spin my body a little bit to get it to register. And that's when I figured it out and I could start doing it. But it's frustrating when you're dying and you're trying to switch stuff and you can't switch. And I imagine somebody like just coming into VR that isn't as seasoned as me getting frustrated from it. So
Yeah.
I had a little bit of issue with the submachine gun, the secondary weapon slot
mm.
over the left shoulder. Didn't always want to register, but besides that, I had a fairly easy time with everything else. Interested to know whether you guys played this game uh, typically sitting or standing.
I started sitting and then I realized I need to stand because I need to be able to duck behind stuff because I didn't know about the duck button. And I guarantee I would have sat the entire time because I enjoyed sitting down. There was no difference. That was one thing I noticed too. This game, it really, really wants to make sure your height is recalibrated correctly because you do anything and it's like it's trying to reset it, which is good because it wants you at that right level. But So there's no downfall not to sitting down that I found anyway.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I played
yeah,
I played the the PlayStation standing, just because with the camera, it's you
Mm.
kind of with the camera and the aim controller, it's tough to sit and play it. But the other two, I sat in my computer chair and played it.
yeah. I kind of felt like that was an advantage with regards to the placement of your belt and your holsters and stuff. Because if you're sitting, typically things don't move, and you can get used to where things are at. And even if it is a little janky at first, you kind of get used to it and develop habits that work around the jank. Um, so yeah, I played seated 95% of the time. I played a little bit of standing at first, but when I realized that this game can be played comfortably seated, I've been seated ever since.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Wolveraza says he sits for it. He's play he when he goes in, it's a marathon, bro. This is his favorite game, and I guess imagine you just get sucked in. Like was his favorite flat game. So that's because I came at it from like you and Mash. I never played this game series at all, or not much of it. I don't remember, so I don't have any childhood memories or any nostalgia to it. So
Yeah, I think that that's a good thing with regards to reviewing it because again, when these franchises that people love so much come into VR, people who have been longtime fans, they develop expectations that they're going to get the flat game, but only in VR. But that often isn't the case. And I'm not sure if it is or isn't here with this one. I haven't read enough reviews to know, but what I have noticed is that although I would imagine that the game is very similar from platform to platform, the review scores are not similar from platform to
hmm.
platform. On Oculus, on the Oculus Quest, it's a solid 4 stars out of 5 with 581 ratings. On Rift, it's a little less than 4 stars. It's like a 3.8, but only 42 ratings versus the 600 on the Quest. I couldn't find the PlayStation VR ratings. For some reason, it's not on the store page in the same spot it used to be. But on Steam, this is very interesting. 262 reviews, um, around a 2.7 typical score. Now, I haven't played the game on Steam, and I don't think either of you have either. Roots, why do you think that this game is scoring so much lower on Steam than the other
I
platforms?
know why it's doing it. First off, let me say how much PCVR players suck. Nobody reviews anything, dude. Like even on the Steam, dude. What is going on? You know what I mean? Quest people, you got it going, bro. Um, but because I went through a lot of the reviews on both platforms, and the biggest thing and I don't know if they fixed it or not, but for some reason there was something wrong with the Steam version where you would be holding the gun, but the gun would be off by like 5 feet, or it would be off, like you're not really holding it. And they said it was very difficult to snipe that way, and so everybody was really pissed about that in the beginning. So it was like originally right off the bat it was mixed, and I'm assuming that it's having a hard time coming back from that. I have a hard time believing that they haven't fixed that by now, but I don't know for sure. So if anybody has played it in the Steam version and knows the answer to that question, I would appreciate the answer. But that's what my assumption is it was all about how the guns were jacked off to the side. So
You know who loves it? To check it off to the side.
My mom!
oh
I was
yeah,
waiting for you
Wes.
to
As
grab
soon
that
as
one
I
because if
said
you
that,
didn't, I was gonna.
I was like, oh, I hope he gets that because it was like just like here, let me. I didn't even mean it either. It just kind of yeah.
It's gold,
Uh,
Jerry, gold.
Eric, do you think it's possible that what we were talking about a moment ago might be a little bit at play here, where on the Oculus platform, you're going to have people who typically are, VR gamers at heart, whereas on Steam, there's a lot more of a mix. People are a lot more likely to have played the earlier versions of the game on if if they've played the earlier versions of the game, they're a lot more likely to have picked this game up on Steam because that's where all their other ones are at.
Yeah,
Do you think any of that's at play here?
yeah. I mean, definitely. And I think with the Quest, there's such a varied audience. There's so many people playing the Quest that you're gonna get, and a lot of them are new to VR or fairly new to VR, so they're not as critical as some of these games. They're seeing this game, they're like, this is amazing. I'm playing Sniper Elite in VR. That's amazing. Or somebody who's been in VR, who's a PSVR player, who's been in VR for 3 years or 4 years, is like, I've been there, I've done that. There's tons of jank. The weapon doesn't line up with my body. The graphics aren't that great. They're just going to find stuff to complain about. They always do it, and some of it's justified. I'm not saying it's not, but and Steam VR is like impossible to come back from a bad rating in the beginning. It's like once you get that, you're pretty much shot because again, there's not enough people out there rating it. Number one, so if you only have 42 ratings and you get half of those people don't like it or give it a bad rating, you're pretty much shot. Where on the Quest, you can, if you get 500 ratings, you can have 25% of those be bad and still get a great rating because you have so many of them.
Right.
Yeah, I think the sheer number of reviews, not only on this game but any cross-platform game, uh, on Quest versus the other platforms, the numbers I think are a bit of a revelation as to just how many people are playing on Oculus Quest now. It's an obscene number of people if you if you use the ratios and kind of estimate from that. There's a lot of people playing on Quest. 30% now of the
So that
Steam VR hardware survey. 30% of all VR headsets on Steam VR now are Quest 2.
It just
And
it made PCVR affordable. Everybody thinks about the ease of the Quest 2 and everything else, but there was a lot of people out there that had capable computers that just weren't going to shell out for a PCVR, and they got got $300 as a no brainer, or they got it and then figured out, oh shit, I can use this with my computer. So I mean, it's a double edged thing. Gamertag said something up here. The Steam version for some reason is different at launch than the Oculus version was, which he says he's never seen before, which is kind of weird, right?
yeah, a little bit weird. Obviously, there are some technical differences to the platform on Steam, but typically when you have these kind of cross-platform games, they'll offer both the Oculus SDK and the Steam VR SDK on Steam. I'd be interested to know if that is indeed the case here, because I haven't heard one way or the other.
Yeah, me neither. And I agree. They should be standard.
Delirium Drew in the chat says Steam VR players are the elitists of VR. You're going to get critical reviews there.
Fuck them.
I, I agree wholeheartedly with that. The master race can be brutal, especially on Steam.
Scion.
So Gamertag VR in the chat says lots of people have gone back to Rift S after using Quest 2 and Link due to performance. Now that is an interesting comment because I did have some issues with Link playing this game. I played with wired Link and a good solid connection, um, uh, but I did have a handful of times. Not that the performance of the game was bad. That wasn't the case. But I did have 5 or 6 times where the link would drop and I would lose connection with my computer. It was easy enough to fix. I would just have to reconnect and I would get right back into playing right where I picked up, right where I left off. Did either of you guys play with wired link? And if so, did you have any issue with it?
Eric
I
did.
did.
You used
Yeah.
the wired link, right?
Yeah, I did. I tried AirLink, and I tried Wired Link. AirLink was a little janky. I usually have a really good setup with AirLink. I usually never have any problem. It was a little laggy. I had some stutter. So I went right back to the link, and I didn't have any issues with the link cable at all.
Well, you know what's weird?
Other than that white line, I keep getting that white line.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. First off, you know what's weird is I did use AirLink. That's pretty much all I use anymore when I use PCVR, and I had no jank whatsoever. So that's a different story for all three of us. And what I'm curious with you, Wes, because Eric was telling me a while back we were playing I think it was Demio, and he
Yeah.
said he had this white line across the thing, and I was giving him a hard time and whatever. And he was saying, I don't know, man. He restarted his thing, and then um, I got the line, and it turned out there's something with the wired link that will make the bottom half of your screen kind of faded, and you have to restart it or reconnect. And it's only on the link cable, and it's only happened to me ever, and Eric as well. So I don't know what the deal is. I don't know if you've ever seen that or not.
Happened to Radio Run too.
And Radio Run. So that's three of us.
Yeah, no, I've never seen anything like that.
That's
No,
weird.
I guess it's notable that I'm not using the official Oculus Link cable,
Ooh.
but rather I'm using
I am.
the Anchor cable in tandem with an amplified extension. So I have an extension cable that connects to my PC, but
Hmm.
the cable also plugs into the wall and amplifies the signal.
Okay.
So it might be a little bit of a different experience for me based on that amplified cable.
Okay. Lincoln Clay throwing the fiver out there, says Sniper Elite VR has 4.5 stars on PlayStation, although there's only 14 ratings.
Wow,
That is crazy, dude. You know, you game cats, go rate this, man. So
well,
the community needs to rate this game, right?
well, since they changed the PlayStation UI, not only in the console but on the website, it's I would imagine it's not the easiest thing to figure out how to do is leave a review
Mm,
anymore. It's certainly not obvious anymore.
what a bummer. Well, I'll
Like I
tell
couldn't
you.
even find the ratings on the website at all
Well, the
anymore.
good
So
news is they don't rely on it for sales at all, right?
right, right. Anyway, one other thing I wanted to touch on before we wrap it up here was the scenery in the game. Another aspect of the game that I wasn't particularly expecting, but really ended up being impressed with some of the scenery in the game. You know, I've spoken before on this channel about how one of my favorite things to do in VR is to time travel, and this game puts you right in the middle of 1940s Italy,
Hmm.
and I really enjoyed all of the old architecture, the old technology, and automobiles, and not only that, but some of the scenery, the nature scenery on these coastlines and things was absolutely beautiful in PC, even with the wired link. Um, uh, Eric, were you as awe-inspired as I was at some of these beautiful vistas that they put in this game?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, even especially in the first couple of scenes where you're almost in a castle or like a walled courtyard. Some of the architecture in there was awesome, amazing. Definitely what you're talking about. Like there's some later missions where you're like in the woods going to protect a downed plane, and some of the environments there were really really cool looking. And you know what was great too was the audio. I mean, the audio was fantastic. I mean, spatial audio where you were hearing voices from over here and then voices from over here, and just hearing the German soldiers yelling. You knew somebody was around the corner. Or you knew somebody was close. The gunshots, all that sound and the visuals just added to the environment of the game. It was really really well done.
Yeah, the audio is integral to some of these stealth levels, right? You need to know where the enemy is at in order to make informed decisions as you make your way through it. And I know early on, the early stealth levels, I really didn't have much luck with, and I saw Delirium Drew in chat earlier saying that he doesn't like how the stealth is in the game, but he hasn't gone very far in the
Hmm.
game yet either. As you play later in the game, there are levels dedicated to stealth, and it works much better in those levels. Uh,
Well,
I,
it's cool that it's a stealth game at the same time, and I think that you know what I mean. You don't have to play it that way. I mean, you can just run out there, and all of a sudden they see you, and you know what I mean. But it's nice to be able to you see that you've been noticed. You can duck real quick and get in if you're quick, but it's not that much time really. You know, I mean, it's pretty damn fast. All of a sudden they're yelling and pissed off and shooting at you and stuff. And I was just trying to go get a cup of coffee. what
We're
the
not happy,
problem
man.
is,
We're not happy, bro.
Uh,
We're
So,
not
uh,
happy, guys.
with regards to the stealth levels specifically, I thought it was clever the way that they integrated that mechanic of sound cover.
mm,
So
Yeah, it's cool.
periodically you'll have some shells going off or some airplanes going over, and it'll tell you on your on-screen HUD that that your sound is covered at that moment. So you're able to actually shoot a non-silenced weapon without being detected. I've never experienced that in the game before, and I found it to be rather clever. Roots, did you and I know you just said that that you like the stealth aspects of the game, but with specifically to the sound cover, have you ever experienced anything like that before in any other game?
no, and I saw it pop up, and I didn't even think to shoot, to try to cover. It's kind of like, and what was that, Shawshank Redemption? You know what I mean? Or wait until the thunder to smash the pipe. You know what I mean? Like you kind of need to stay stealth. I was all over the place, bro. I don't think there was 5 seconds where they didn't know where the hell I was and they were trying to kill me. I I liked the stealth aspect, and there was times when I would get sighted and I would duck real quick back in. I just like the fact that it was like it, there's so many stealth games. I don't feel like you need to go stealth. This one, man, like if you're not stealth, dude, they're gonna kill you. They're shooting at least on the level I was playing at. They were crack shots, bro. Like, and I'm getting shot. Now, granted, you could step behind something and gain your health back, but if you just stood out in the open, it doesn't take 5 seconds and you're dead. So you kind of have to really, really do. I felt like I was playing Returnal all over again, except for I didn't have my dash. So.
And, did you try to play the game at all on the hardest difficulty setting?
No, fuck no, man. I can't even imagine how hard that. Did you try it? You must have tried that.
I did. Eric, did you try it on the
No
hardest
way.
setting?
No way.
It is friggin' impossible. Now, with that said, uh, it was only like the second or third time that I had ever played the game when I moved it up to hard. But it was so easy on normal. I thought, well, let's see what it's like on hard. Maybe I'll
Mm,
just play through it on hard. Nope, nope. Like shots that you're sure are lined up perfectly somehow miss. And I don't understand it. I don't know why. But with that said as well, that was before I learned about focus.
mm.
So it may be a little bit easier if you're using the focus ability.
They call that the Wolveraza level. You got to be Wolveraza skilled to be able to pass that sucker.
Delirium Drew VR in chat. My experience with Airlink sort of starts and ends with Beat Saber, though. Link typically is the best performance, but not the best graphics. Um, I have no experience. My experience with Link is that it won't find my computer. And I even did a factory reset a couple of days ago on my Quest, made sure it was set up the way it needed to be set up
Hmm.
specifically, and it still won't find my computer.
That's weird. I wonder if it's. I mean, I don't know. I mean, this is the thing. Is like everybody swears that there's no difference between Wi-Fi 6. Maybe it's just that it's a some. I don't know. Maybe it's just not finding your router. There's got to be something. Something's not right, right?
Well, I mean, it's connecting to the router because it has internet, but it's not finding the computer.
Hmm.
One thing someone suggested a while back that I haven't tried yet is changing the channel in my router, because apparently some channels are less compatible
Hmm.
with Airlink than others. I think maybe that might be the next thing I'll look at if I cared enough to tinker with it, which thus far I haven't really cared enough to put any time
Well,
into
I'll
it.
tell you what. Like I said, even when I hook up, and this is how I usually play PCVR. I play it, and this is gonna drive people like Wolveraza crazy. Um, I play it wirelessly, Airlink, but then I connect the cable to my block for the power. So I'm still connected to the cable. It's just not. It's. I find the Airlink a better stable connection than the other link. And I mean, I can still go wireless, and I do if I want to get up and move around. I got my battery, but if I'm sitting here in my chair, what does it matter if I've got a cable going down my arm? What I don't understand the you know what I mean? Like I've got to be fully wireless in my chair, but I'm not getting up and moving. There's no reason to be wireless. It's just bizarre to me.
Right. Delirium Drew VR in chat. You have to set beta settings in Oculus PC app to Airlink on every time. Yeah, I know. I did that. It isn't the setup. It's set up correctly.
Mm.
It's just not working. Um, Traveling Man 3775. Hold your breath in real life, Wes. Yes. This is something that I've practiced since my very first gameplay session in this game, and the reason why is I've many times shot guns in real life, and this is something you do when you're shooting a real gun. You aim, you hold your breath, and you squeeze the trigger. You don't pull it. You squeeze the trigger. And yeah, I'm using my real life shooting mechanics in this game, and I think it's a compliment to this game that I feel like I have to do stuff like that. It just goes to show you how well they did the gunplay with regards to sniping.
Space Dennison says, I've been rocking VD lately. It's great. You know who else has been rocking VD?
My mom!
Mhm. Yeah, she
Wow, he
gets
just said
around. I
that
told her to stop. So
Absolutely. So I think we've pretty thoroughly turned this one over. I think it's pretty clear where I stand on this game. I'm loving it. Like a lot of the problems that other people are citing with that I haven't had problems with. There are a few issues. Again, I feel like the point system for the non-scoped weapons and the close range weapons really could use some rebalancing. I did have a little bit of jank with regards to the holster system and things like that. There was something else that I had a moment ago and I lost it. There was something else that I feel this game could have done better, and I lost it, man.
hmm. Oh,
Anyway, while I'm trying to recover this memory, um, Roots, really quickly, $30, yay or no?
well, I think it's worth $30. I mean, it's definitely. This is what I was saying in the Discord because people were saying, that I said that it wasn't worth $30. No, I was worried about some of the reviews. I mean, the reason why Medal of Honor was such a like what the hell, it was $60, dude. If it had dropped at $30, I would have said it was worth it, and it was and still is way jankier than this game. This game actually pulls you through it, even though it's separated in each individual thing. It's still definitely worth $30.
Yeah, and the difference between PC and Quest 2 fairly minimal, right? It's a recommend on either of those platforms.
Yeah, I don't think and you get both of them. I don't think you're going to miss anything on the Quest version that you don't get on the PC VR version. The gameplay is exactly the same, and the graphically, it looks amazing. Like I said, I still don't know why Medal of Honor was so huge in size. You know what I mean? I don't get it.
Yeah.
Um, I still can't remember the one criticism that I forgot, but I remembered another one while I was trying to think of it. The way the loadout's set up, it's a bit of a pain in the ass uh, to change your loadout. Uh, Eric, do you think it would have made a lot more sense to make your loadout something that you can change from the pause menu?
Yeah, just do it in the screen. I mean, they try and do it with these baskets. You got to grab the gun, you throw the gun in the basket, and that's your loadout. I mean, just do it in the screen, and they should be able to do it before every level. You know what I mean? Just have a screen before every level, a quick screen or a pause screen or whatever it is. You can pick your loadout. I mean, I know they're going to want you to have certain guns for certain levels, but
Why can't you just do
Right.
something like Returnal does, or any game like that, or even Orbis VR, where you've got a model of your guy and you drag which guns you want on there, and you
right.
hit save? Like Eric said, like, why do I have to throw it in a basket? Why does that have to be made into VR? Just give me a fucking menu, let me switch it and go.
You know?
So,
I remembered my other criticism of the game now, and it's with regards to the stealth aspects of the game. Rich, you'll remember back when we reviewed Aspire One. One of our main criticisms of that game was that you could kill a man and they'll drop the alert in 30
mm,
seconds. They do exactly the same thing in this game. Like you would think that when you saw your colleague on the ground dead, that would be endless alert until we find the perpetrator. Uh, but it's not the case here. It makes no sense.
I could even see it to be where, like, if, and this would make sense, like anybody that's on the screen, anybody that could have seen it, like if you've killed the last guy and there's nobody around, there doesn't need to be 10 more guys around the corner that come running out. But if there's like 3 or 4 people like that, or like Wes said, if I'm standing there and I look over and Wes's head explodes, and then the gunner runs around the corner, and then I just go back to standing there smoking a cigarette. Like, what is going on, dude? Your buddy just got his head blown off, bro.
Nazis were retarded, bro.
Yeah. Or I just didn't
Well,
like that guy. So I don't know.
I assume you noticed this as well, Eric, right? These guys gave up on avenging their friends fairly quickly.
Oh yeah, yeah. This the old Metal Gear Solid alert, hide for 2 seconds, and then hey, everything's fine.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, Eric, $30, yay, nay?
100%, especially if you're getting it for the PlayStation.
Or
So
if you're getting it
yeah,
for the Quest, you get it for the PCVR as well.
Two versions, yeah. Really?
Yeah.
is there enough difference in the gameplay between the Oculus version and the PlayStation version to merit owning both copies?
Definitely. I mean, if you have a PlayStation, I mean, I love the Quest version just because I can take it wherever I want to go. I'm going on vacation next week. I'm gonna take my Quest with me. If I want to play Sniper Elite, I can play Sniper Elite. Can't take my PlayStation with me. That ain't gonna work.
And not
So
not not only that, but I mean, you're saying that the gameplay is the best with the aim controller. So there's your reason to own it on PlayStation. But you also said that it's a pretty much straight port of the Quest version. Uh,
exactly.
to me, my favorite version has been the PC version, having not played PlayStation. But it was worth it to me to cable up and play that version just because of those beautiful vistas and things we were talking about. This is a beautiful game on PC, and I think that you may be right. This may be one of those rare cases where it might actually make sense to own two copies of the game. Now, obviously, most people aren't going to go drop $30 twice, but if you buy it on your favorite platform first for 30, and then say 3 months from now you see this on sale for $20,
Right.
you might want to consider picking it up.
Yeah, dude, we just had an infamous, less seen lately gamer chick come into the chat. How you doing, gamer chick?
She's been hard at work.
She's been busy. You know who
Yeah,
else has been busy?
My mom!
Oh, yeah, she has.
All night long, she's been busy.
anyway, it's good to see you at this late hour, Tiffany. Thanks for stopping by.
Yeah, absolutely.
Delirium Drew can't wait to dance in Synth Riders after Aftershocks. Yeah, man. We just got the latest DLC from Synth Riders. Haven't had a chance to check it out yet, but I know that there's a new experience in there, and
Caravan Palace.
yeah, that's my favorite thing my favorite thing about Synth Riders are the experiences. So I'm looking forward to checking that one out.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well,
Anyway, I think it's a stiff recommend from all three of us here, regardless of platform. Is it a perfect game by any means? No, no, it is not. There are certainly there's certainly room for improvement, no matter which platform you're playing on. But regardless of that, none of it seemed to get in the way of us having a very good time with this game. And again, with me, I'm friggin' obsessed with it right now. I can't put it down. Root said it. He said it recently on our other channel. You know or on our other show rather. You know when a game's good when you spend all day thinking about wanting to play it.
mm,
And Sniper Elite for me is one of those games.
yeah, absolutely. I think of everything in Returnal uh, these days. That game is just so freaking hard. Probably the hardest game I've ever seen. Crazy.
I just think there's just too much to play right now. I
Yeah.
got way too much to play. I got my wheel. I got my PlayStation 5. I got Sniper Elite. I need to quit my job.
Yeah.
That's what I need.
Yeah,
Quit my job.
that's
No more
that's
vacations.
great.
Is my wife watching?
Yeah, if she's watching, he's not going to quit his job.
Yeah, there's so much coming in VR right now. It's an exciting time to be a VR content creator because of all the games that are starting to drop now. I mean, and just at any moment, the ones that don't have release dates could drop in your lap. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, any day now.
I mean, yeah, Oculus has got something planned. They're gonna hammer. They're gonna hit something they always do, and with VR, it's like it just drops. It's not like PlayStation where they do state of plays once a month or once every couple of months. I mean,
Well, I mean, the stuff that we know Oculus is working on is
right,
incredible. I mean, with Resident Evil, the two Ubisoft titles, and Lone Echo 2,
right,
I mean, that's enough, right?
yeah,
Short Circuit in VR.
Johnny Five.
Johnny
Anyway,
5.
speaking of Oculus exclusives, Sniper Elite, not the only thing we had time to check out this week. We also carved out a little piece of time for an animated short film called Madrid Noir. A big thank you to Madrid Noir for providing Ruuts and I assume Eric as well, with
Yes, thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Anyway, we pride ourselves in focusing mainly on games on this channel, but it isn't always. I do like to talk about some of the other creative
I must have been 9 or 10 years old when I got sent here. I couldn't wait to get out there and investigate my first real case.
or Gloomy Eyes, or I mean, the Great Sea. I mean, we've covered a bunch of these in the past. So when we had the opportunity to cover Madrid Noir, um, you know, we happily accepted. Um, Roots, I'll start with you. I guess my first impression of this, um, the one thing that I knew going into it before I even put the headset on that really endeared me to this is the length of it. This is about a 40 to 45 minute experience, and that is not typical normally of these kinds of experiences in
No,
VR.
no, not especially. I mean, um, there were, I guess there was audio for a little bit there, so people were, we woke people up, Wes. Wake up! You were asleep. You were starting to fall asleep. Now the trailer woke you up. Yeah, no, this is the biggest thing, and I told you and Eric this before the show. Whenever I go into something like this, I kind of have a litmus test where I'll go in, and my biggest thing is that I look at through the lens of future releases of movies, cartoon movies, especially Pixar or whatever. And this is like the closest thing I've ever seen to anything like that so far. Was super amazing, and it's not on loop for some reason. And but yeah, I really enjoyed. I enjoyed it. It seemed like the acting was really good as well. What do you guys think about the acting?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I thought it was fantastic. I thought it was really well done.
yeah. I liked. I thought the acting was solid in it, and the story in particular stuck out to me as something that was fairly unique and a nice tale from one of these types of experiences.
Yeah.
Um, anyway, so you said that there was trailer audio on when you switched to this.
Yes, yeah. So the beginning of what you said was drowned out a little bit. So if you want to go over what you said,
Okay. Well, basically, I just wanted to thank the developer or the publisher Atlas 5 for providing us with review access. Not only Roots and I, but Eric as well. We all got review copies of this, and very much appreciate it.
yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
But anyway, yeah, I think that the voice acting was solid. The story was very good, but I think my favorite thing about Madrid Noir were the environments. Like this game takes you through a lot of scenes as the narrator tells the story, and the 3D-ness of it was overwhelming, and it was just cool. It was cool to jump around through these various places. It was a very strong sense of presence for me. Did you experience this at all, Roots?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And what I thought was kind of cool too is this is one of those games that kind of like Wolves in the Walls. It's 360. So the story's moving around. You're 1 minute you're facing this way, then you're that way. So like if you stood in one direction and just watched, you're gonna miss most of what's going on because it's moving around. So I kind of thought it was kind of cool. Kind of broke up the monotony, right? Of 2021 where people's attention span are not typically there anymore. So I thought it
Yeah,
was really cool.
yeah, I like the 360ness of it. You're right; it's absolutely all around you. It isn't on a screen at all. Um, I started to try to experience it in a chair, and quickly found that I had to stand up to enjoy it, which was a bit awkward because this is it's interactive, right? It's not just a story playing out before your eyes, but you interact with the environments. There are items that you use in the game: a flashlight, a camera. So uh, having my guardian turned off and then getting out of my chair and standing up, I found myself bumping a lot of stuff trying to use the items. Eric, would you have liked to have seen uh, a turn feature enabled in this game? So uh, people who are less inclined to want to stand can enjoy it the same as everyone else.
Yeah, I mean, I did play it mainly standing, and I did not play it, but experience it. But I did try sitting in my computer chair and swiveling, spinning around. It does work. It just you're too low to grab some objects. That's the problem. So if they had a seated mode, you could still spin around in your chair and catch all the scenes, and you would be low enough to grab, whatever you need to grab, the light, the flashlight, the camera, or whatever.
And
But
what did you think about the interactivity of this? Did it enhance your experience at all, or do you think it was more of just like a gimmick?
no, I thought it was pretty cool. I mean, there was some stuff in there, and there was a few things that were like, okay, that was kind of cute. But I mean, not to give too much away, but the flashlight, I thought the flashlight was really cool. I mean, you had to really look around to find out where your next scene was with the flashlight. I mean, I was a couple of times I was spinning 360, just trying to figure out where stuff was with the flashlight. It was just a cool mechanic, I thought.
Yeah, yeah. I felt specifically that the flashlight and the camera were the cool parts of the interactivity. The rest of it, I felt like was just kind of in there for VR's sake.
Exactly.
The drawers and the desk and all these other items that you can interact with. Uh, Roots, I particularly like the camera because the pictures that you take, um, they're fairly significant to the story, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I felt a little guilty though, Wes. I want to admit. Like, I don't know that I should be peeping on my uncle. You know what I mean? Like, he's an adult. I'm just a kid. And, like, who am I? And he is doing some shady stuff, though. I like the story. It really kind of gripped you, right? It made you want to know what's going on next, made you want to know what's going on, where this guy's sneaking off to, what's happening. Clearly this girl's got dropped in his lap. It's just a really cool story. Definitely, worth. What's the cost on this? I mean, I would say if it's under $10, it's worth it all day long.
Yeah, yeah. $9 exclusively on Oculus Quest Store at the moment.
Yeah. So to me, it's a hands down. It's definitely worth it. And like I was telling you before, like an average movie now is about an hour and a half. It's half of a movie. We haven't had anything that's been this full of like a full, almost like feature, right? And it really did open my eyes that like you could have literally a Monsters Incorporated movie, the entire thing done in VR or whatever it is, whatever genre you want to be watch an experience. And this is my thing. Sometimes I don't want to play stuff. Sometimes I just want to sit and I want to watch. And even like, like even though there's some interactions with the flashlight, like Eric was saying, it's so cool that it makes you pulls you into the story even more. So I thought it was really cool.
Yeah, yeah, and again, the flashlight and the camera, they absolutely do that. They serve to immerse you in the story that's being told by the narrator, and I think it's significant to point out that they use a narrator in this to tell the story, because between the other things you interact with besides the camera and the flashlight and the narrator, that kind of leads me in to my only criticism of Madrid Noir, and that is the opening scene. They add an opening scene into Madrid Noir. Wait a minute, I'm hearing something. Some
Somebody's
weirdness in
phone,
my
probably
ears.
Eric's phone.
I was
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, they add a scene to in the beginning of this thing to kind of develop a relationship between you and the narrator. And the opening scene is kind of the the thing that sets the story up, and it kind of does that, but it really doesn't do the best job of it, in my opinion. It doesn't really make sense if you think about it. So, you're in this old abandoned apartment or house, and you're packing up these boxes, and you're rummaging through drawers and boxes, and you're finding items that belong to the narrator's uncle. The narrator being your girlfriend or whatever, someone who's there with you. Um, and she sees items, and just happens to remind her of this story, the story being the story that's told through this. Uh, but and I don't want to spoil what happens in the story, but the events in the story are fairly significant, things that you would consider to be traumatic if they really happened to the girl when she was younger. You'd think that this stuff would have came up before they ever even went to this apartment, right? Rather than you found a bow tie. Oh, that reminds me of my uncle who did this crazy shit when I was a little kid. That really didn't make much sense to me. It seemed a bit contrived. Um, and I could have done without it.
I think you just don't like bow ties. Like that's that's what I think. But who
Who
doesn't hate bow ties, right?
Yeah, that Pee Wee Herman turned me
It's
against Tucker
bullshit,
Tucker
dude.
Carlson. Such an
This
asshole.
is 2021, bro. Get rid of the bow tie.
Eric,
It was a little
did
weird.
did that seem weird to you at all, Eric?
Yeah,
That she just happens to remember this. Well, maybe I guess I didn't think of it this way, but maybe she was compartmentalizing mentally, right? Maybe she had
suppressing memories, maybe.
suppressing these memories, and then the bow tie just happened to bring it back.
Man.
Yeah, I was confused as to who I was to her in the first place. I thought maybe it was her fiance and her boyfriend or whatever. But then later, she said she wasn't going to get married, but you were still there. So I was confused as to who I actually was in the story.
Butler.
Yeah,
You're the
yeah,
butler.
and how,
Maybe you were
and how,
I don't know. I never really got that part. They didn't flesh that out at all.
And again, I want to be very careful here not to
Yeah,
spoil the story. But I found the method of revelation at the end to be a little strange too, like a little far fetched. That so much was left to chance by the uncle. Like, hope you find this. You know what I mean? Seemed a little weird to
He
me
knew
that,
what he was doing. He's very calculated, bro.
yeah, right.
and that dog, man, that dog has the longest life of any dog I've ever
Well, not
seen.
only that, but it wears glasses and a hat. So I'm thinking maybe it's imaginary.
Wait, your dog doesn't wear glasses in the hat?
Yeah, I'm weird like that, right?
Anyway, my criticisms are mostly nitpicking. They didn't take away from the overall experience at all. And I found the story to be very creative and the way that it was told to be very immersive. So I agree with Roots here. I think $9 is a more than fair price for this. And I do recommend it for those of you who enjoy being told a story in VR. Eric, what's your verdict with it here?
I was going to ask you, put it up against Wolves in the Walls. What do you think?
I think Wolves and Walls is probably the best example of this type of media in VR. I still am a little bit partial to Wolves in the Wall.
I was going to say I think the story was probably a little better in Wolves in the Wall, Wolves in the Walls, in the way that it was told, and maybe your relationship with that character was maybe better. But I think the art style of this I liked better than Wolves in the Walls.
I could agree with that.
Yeah.
What I liked about Wolves in the Walls was that relationship and the way they establish it in the early act. But yeah, art wise and uh, sound wise, I mean, Madrid Noir very strong in those departments.
Thing about
Yeah,
Wolves on the Walls is it literally was like the AI and stuff. Like if you're reading back into the backstory of it, they created that character to draw you in. Like it's different than any experience I've seen as far as it really does make you feel like she's a real you're really interacting with this real person, right? Just the way she moves and the way she turns with you and looks at you, all of that is playing through. But I would agree that the sets on this are beautiful. So
Yeah.
I
So
would highly recommend both of those experiences to
yeah,
anybody. They're both, I think,
yeah.
about the same price, and I think they're both 100% worth it.
I would agree with it, and I think the fact that we're even talking about this in the same league as Wolves in the Walls really should tell most people out there excuse me, everything that they need to know. It's a solid title, and again, unlike most of these interactive experiences, you're getting your money's worth here. This is a nice long story, and it's an interesting one, a unique story, and it's not as obtuse as Wolves in the Wall. Like you're still trying to figure out Wolves in the Wall at the end. Not a problem here. They lay it all out for you by the time the credits roll on this one.
yeah.
I think perfect timing too. I think the exact time it ended, I was like, "This is perfect." You know, it didn't go on forever. Had a little intermission in the middle where you could take a little break, and then when it was ready to be over, I was like, "Wow, this is perfect." You know what I mean? It didn't. It told a story, and it was ready to go. And then by that time, you're ready to get out of VR anyway.
Now you said this is Oculus exclusive, right?
At the moment, it is to my knowledge. Now, I could be wrong about that, but it's the only place I've noticed it is on the Oculus Quest store.
Because I was just thinking this is, and if you're the guy that we deal with at Viveport Infinity is watching, this would be a perfect Viveport Infinity one, man. This is like a no-brainer because everybody wants to try some of this, but there's so many people that won't pull the trigger on a experience. You know what I mean? So
I think it's Oculus funded too. It shows Oculus in the credits and everything.
yeah, so it's
Right.
probably not going anywhere.
Paradise Decay joining us in chat. Hello, PD. Good morning. Traveling Man 3775. Just think what Netflix could bring us. Oh, dude, we'll get there one day. We'll get there to the point where we'll kind of have a Netflix of immersive entertainment. And yeah, I agree. It might be sooner than we all think.
They're making a move right now. I just posted an article in the Discord how they're making a move for gaming and for I would think for VR, and I think it would be. I predict somebody's going to make the move. If it's not Xbox, I mean Xbox. If it's not them, it'll be somebody else, but Netflix. But it's for streaming PCVR, like for people that can't afford a gaming computer, being able to use these PCs VR, these PCs that are remote, right? Being able to use PCVR through your wireless connection without a computer through a $10 a month fee or whatever it is. If you could do, I mean, think about that. You don't even need to own a PC anymore. You can do it remotely.
Right.
So
Awesome. Awesome.
Wolverine said Telltale games, the Walking Dead games. That can you imagine doing that? That would be perfect for this.
that would be absolutely.
Well, I mean, like, I think Saints and Sinners is kind of a good example of that because they play out they share a lot of structural similarity to the Telltale games. It's just they incorporate so much more on top of that base, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's why Saints and Sinners is one of a handful of games in VR that has the kind of depth that Ruuts often talks about with flat games and how there aren't enough VR games that have that kind of depth that are just going on so many different levels. Saints and Sinners just happens to be one of those masterpieces that really does have a lot of depth to it.
Absolutely. PD wants to know if we've talked about the new realistic kayaking game. I don't. We have not. I didn't even know there was a realistic kayaking. Can I shoot a gun while I'm kayaking? 'Cause I've already done that in VR. Um, I didn't know there was a
No,
kayaking game.
no, we've talked about VR whitewater rafting,
Mm,
which was a bit of a clusterfuck to be honest. But no, I did notice your video on it, but with a pretty thorough dissection of Sniper Elite VR, and I'd be interested to know, PD, what you thought about Sniper Elite VR. Did you try it uh, on PlayStation as well as Oculus, or only on Oculus? And what did you think about the game overall? And while we wait on the latency to reach PD here, I think that's going to wrap up our show for the week. This week. And Eric, I guess I should thank you. Thanks for coming on and
Yeah.
No,
staying
thank
up late to help us promote these games.
thank you guys for having me. I always
Yeah.
have a blast hanging out with you guys.
Yeah, it's almost what? 3 a.m. for you guys?
Yeah, let's get
Yeah,
Crazy,
2:30.
bro.
Yep.
Yeah. It's late.
So yeah, Eric again. Eric again is from the Oculus Quest 2 Facebook community. I'll put the link for the community in the description below. I'm sure most of you are on Facebook, whether you like it or not. Whether you like it or not, you got to be right.
Yeah.
You got to be if you want to have a Quest 2. So we'll link that up in the description down below. If you guys like the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, click the big red button, click the bell so that you can stay up with all of our content. And there's lots of good stuff coming. Ruuts, I mean, what do we have lined up? We have Synth Riders lined up. We have Yuki lined up. More things that we can't talk about yet lined up for the next week. It's going to be a busy week. You're going to want to make sure you hit that bell. Good stuff incoming. I promise.
Yeah, absolutely.
Last but not least, there is an invitation in the description below for you to join us on our Discord. It's our home. It's where we live. Not only Ruuts and I, but Eric as well as most of the people in chat right now. So we humbly invite you to join us in our home. It's where we live, laugh, and play together. The Virtual Strangers Discord. We'll leave the light on for you.
Yeah, you know who else likes to come home?
My mom!
Oh, she loves to come home. Big time.
Really quickly, before we sign off, Paradise Decay in chat said, I tried Sniper on all platforms. I enjoyed it with the aim controller, and as a lazy person, I did not mind the auto reload. Just wish the graphics looked better on PSVR. Maybe on PSVR too. So some food for thought there from Paradise Decay. Maybe we'll get a newer version of this next year that's just as beautiful as the PC version on PlayStation.
Yeah, I also don't care about being lazy. I enjoy the reload. It's my favorite.
All right. With that said, friends, we'd like to thank you all once again for watching. For Ruuts and Eric, I'm Wes. We'll see you next time, friends. Bye now.
Take it easy.
see you later.